At last year's New Year's party, my in-laws decided to humiliate me in front of everyone. There they were, standing in the middle of their ridiculously fancy living room, holding champagne flutes and labeling me a gold digger for the entire world to hear. Well, this year, they're about to find out I own the very company they work for. They wanted gold, I'm about to give them an entire empire. The music is blaring, the air is thick with expensive perfume, and glasses are clinking everywhere. I spot them the second I walk in, my father-in-law, David, wearing his usual condescending smirk. My mother-in-law, Carol, with eyes that scan my dress with that same old dismissive glare. Beside me, my husband, Mark, shifts nervously. He knows this place is a battlefield. For a second, it feels just like last year, the same sneers, the same whispers. But this year, something's different. I'm different. I give Mark's hand a squeeze, whisper, "It's time," and walk straight to the front of the room, where a microphone is waiting. The music fades out. 200 pairs of eyes turn to me. "Good evening, everyone," I start, my voice perfectly calm and clear. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah, and last year, at this very party, my in-laws, David and Carol Sterling, called me a gold digger. A shocked silence just blankets the room. David's face goes completely crimson. Carol looks like she's just seen a ghost. I let that silence hang in the air for a beat before I continue. So tonight, I'd like to reintroduce myself properly as your new boss. But first, let's rewind to a year ago. Same party, same people. Mark had just given me my New Year's gift, a beautiful designer handbag. It was modest, but I loved it because it came from him. Carol, however, saw it differently. She literally snatched it out of my hands, her voice dripping with poison. Sterling and Sons money paid for this, I assume. It's amazing what some women will do for a little taste of luxury. Her husband, David, let out a loud, booming laugh that made everyone turn. "Come on, Carol," he said, winking at the guests. "She's not a gold digger. She's an investment. A pretty one, at least." The room filled with this polite, but incredibly cruel, laughter. I could feel hundreds of eyes on me, judging me, picking me apart. I looked over at Mark, begging him with my eyes to say something, to defend me. But he just stood there, completely paralyzed, caught between the woman he loved and the parents he was terrified of. He just gave me this week, apologetic smile that said, "Just try to ignore them." But I couldn't ignore it. The humiliation was a physical pain, like a hot poker on my skin. They didn't just insult me, they made me feel worthless. My love for their son, my own ambitions, my character, it was all just a transaction to them. They saw me as a pretty accessory, a leech on their precious family name. My small e-commerce business, the one I poured my heart into day and night, was just a cute little hobby to them until I landed their son. That night, driving home in total silence, the shame curdled into a cold, hard resolve. I cried, but not from sadness, from pure rage, and I made myself two promises. 1. I would never, ever depend on anyone else for my security or my self-worth again. And 2, I would build something so huge, so powerful, that their shallow world and petty judgments would become nothing but a faint, pathetic echo. They saw a gold digger. They were about to meet a gold mine. The very next day, my secret mission began. The pain from that night became my rocket fuel. I sold off my small portfolio of stocks, the hobby money they always mocked, and poured every single penny into my business plan. This wasn't a cute little hobby anymore. It was my obsession. My ideal was for an AI-powered logistics platform to help small and medium-sized businesses, the exact kind of companies the big players always ignored. I knew there was a huge gap in the market because I'd experienced it myself with my own online store. So, while my in-laws were gossiping over lunch at the country club, I was in a rented co-working space coding until my fingers went numb. I hired a small, killer team of experts, paying them with equity I barely had. We worked around the clock. The whole journey was a blur of sacrifice. While David and Carol were posting vacation pics from their European cruise, I was in a stuffy boardroom in Singapore fighting to get venture capitalists to take me seriously. While they were buying a new luxury car, I was reinvesting every dollar of profit back into the company. Every fancy dinner they went to was a night I spent staring at market analysis reports. I built my empire in the shadows, using a series of holding companies and a different name. To Mark, I was just working really hard on my online store. He could see I was busy, but he had no clue about the scale of it all. He never asked about the late nights or the sudden business trips. He was just happy that I seemed to have gotten over what his parents said. He had no idea I wasn't getting over it. I was getting even. The breakthrough came about 6 months in. A major manufacturing guild started using our platform, and the results were insane. Their efficiency tripled. Word spread like wildfire. In just 1 year, my cute little hobby became a unicorn, a privately held startup worth over $1 billion. Then, 2 weeks before New Year's Eve, I made my final move. One of the companies on my acquisition list was a mid-level manufacturing firm called Sterling Corp. It was old, inefficient, and practically begging for a tech overhaul. It was also the company where David Sterling was a senior manager and Carol worked in HR. With a single, anonymous wire transfer, it was all mine. Now, back at the party, the silence is so thick you could cut it with a knife. David's face has gone through about 10 different shades of red and pale white. Carol is clutching her chest, her mouth just hanging open. I keep going, my voice perfectly steady. The acquisition of Sterling Corp was finalized last week. My company, Athena Innovations, will be taking full operational control effective tomorrow, January 1st. I believe that makes me your new Chief Executive Officer. A man in a sharp suit steps out from the side. It's my lawyer, Mr. Harrison. He holds up a tablet. The paperwork is, of course, all in order, he says to the stunned room. All Sterling Corp employees will get an email tomorrow morning outlining the transition plan under Ms. Evans' new leadership. He used my maiden name. That was on purpose. The room just erupts into frantic whispers. The power dynamic has shifted so completely it feels like the oxygen has been sucked out of the room. The same people who were laughing along with David a few minutes ago are now looking at him with a mix of pity and fear. They start to back away, creating this big, awkward circle around him and Carol, like their failure might be contagious. I step down and walk calmly through the parting sea of guests until I'm standing right in front of my in-laws. Their faces are masks of pure horror. This is a joke. David sputters out. A sick, twisted joke. Mark, what has she done? Mark, who's been frozen this whole time, is just as shocked as everyone else. But when he looks at me, standing there tall and uncheckable, a slow smile spreads across his face. He finally sees me, not as a victim, but as a victor. Carol finally finds her voice, shrill and panicked. You can't do this. We are your family. I look her dead in the eye. All the pain and humiliation from the past year comes together in one single, crystal clear moment. You had one job, I say, my voice low and cutting. To be family. You could have been my biggest cheerleaders. Instead, you chose to be my biggest motivation. So for that, thank you. I turn to David, who looks like he's aged 20 years in 5 minutes. You called me a gold digger. You thought I was digging for your pocket change. Turns out, I was the gold mine all along. I let that sink in before delivering the final blow. You've both spent your careers at Sterling Corp. I want you to know that your contributions have been noted. You'll get your severance packages, just like everyone else. Security will escort you out on Monday morning. It's time for a corporate restructuring. I don't raise my voice. I don't have to. The quiet finality in my words is more brutal than any scream. I turn to leave, but then I pause. Whoa, and David, I add, looking back. You were right about one thing. I am a hell of an investment. On Monday morning, their termination papers were waiting. The severance was by the book, nothing extra. They called, they texted, they sent frantic messages through relatives begging, pleading, even threatening. I didn't answer. The best revenge isn't loud. It's the quiet, deafening silence of their own irrelevance. My real victory wasn't just buying their company. It was becoming so successful that their opinions just didn't matter anymore. As for Mark, our world was turned completely upside down, but in the best way. With the secrets gone, he finally saw his parents for the bullies they were and stood by my side, no questions asked. Our marriage, which had been cracked by their poison, started to heal on a new foundation of respect and honesty. They tried to put a label on me. They tried to stick me in a box. They thought my worth was tied to their son's bank account. But your worth isn't decided by who you marry or what people think of you. It's forged in the fire of your own ambition, built by your own two hands, and defined on your own damn terms. They wanted a war over money and status. They just never realized I was busy building an empire they couldn't even imagine, let alone fight. What would you have done in my shoes? Would you have gone for revenge, or would you have just walked away? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you believe in the power of rewriting your own story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us for more.